Well, it's time to talk about another Northern California fishing destination. And this week we're going to be talking about a pretty well-known fishery, but it's still very interesting. I'm talking about Lake Oroville outside the town of Oroville, California. Now, the fishery is unique, but just the dam and the lake itself is unique. Oroville Dam was completed in 1968. It impounds the North Fork of the Feather River and the Feather River. The lake was built for basically three reasons. One, flood control. Two, water storage. And three, to generate hydroelectric power. Some of the unique things about the dam itself is that it's the highest earthen dam in the United States at it's about 700, I got some notes here, that's right. It's about 770 feet high and it's about 6,700 feet across. So that's a big earthen dam, and an earthen dam, it's nothing but a big pile of dirt, guys. So anyway, biggest earthen dam in the United States. It's also the second biggest reservoir in California, right behind Lake Shasta. It's a very deep lake. There are spots out there that are 300 feet deep. The lake has an extensive main body, and it also has three very large river arms. Now, in terms of fishing, well, I should talk a little bit about the spillway first. There was a spillway. I don't know if you'd call it a spillway failure. I guess you would. I mean, the spillway broke up on the lake a couple years ago. I'm not super up to speed on all the issues, but it sounds like the California, what is it, the Corps of Engineers or the Water Resources, whoever manages the lake, there were problems, and I don't think they addressed them right away. And then, you know, they had a big winter and big water coming out of the lake, and the spillway, you probably seen it on the news, actually started to destroy itself, which was just crazy, and it created flooding downriver. You know, if there's trouble at Oroville Dam, the towns of Oroville and the Marysville, Yuba City area, they're right on that Feather River, you know, waterway. So anything that affects Oroville Dam can be devastating to those cities and towns down the line. So that was a bad deal. Could have been a lot worse, but it was bad enough deal. And it looks like they've got it all repaired now. Last time I was at the lake, there was a ton of construction equipment, and one of the launch ramps, the one at the spillway right by the dam, it was actually closed because there was so much construction equipment there in that parking lot. But anyway, looks like that's been dealt with. Hopefully we're not going to see another problem like that. So let's move on to the fishery. Oroville, for a long time, it's always been known as a great bass fishery. You know, early on, it was a tremendous smallmouth fishery. Smallmouths are still in the lake. But then spotted bass got planted in the lake, and they kind of took it over, and they're definitely the spotlight species out there in terms of bass fishing. Although there are some very big largemouth in the lake, there are some very nice smallmouth, but your marquee bass in the lake is a spotted bass, and they kind of earn their living feeding on big clouds of pond smelt. They eat crawfish and stuff like that, but pond smelt, that's your primary forage at Lake Oroville. So lots of spotted bass, good population of catfish, there are some crappie, stuff like that. For the cold water guys, a few years ago, Oroville was all about coho salmon, silvers, and man, what a great fishery that was. Those things were wild fighters, they were easy to catch. They went all the way up to 4 or 5 pounds at times. Phenomenal fish. But the powers that be were afraid that those silvers were going to get into the Feather River system and start spawning down there, and they wouldn't be a natural fish and all that kind of stuff. So they eliminated stocking silver salmon, coho salmon in Oroville, and they replaced them with king salmon. Now there's some pluses and minuses to that. You know, your king salmon, they get large, they fight hard, they're a great eating fish, they're a lot of fun to catch, but for your average angler, they're tougher to catch than silvers. However, there are a lot of kings in Oroville, a lot of big kings. Last time I was out there, we had king salmon up to 23 inches. We had no problems getting limits. I was out there with Captain Kevin Brock of fishkevinbrock.com. Wes Ward of the Fish Sniffer joined me on the trip, and we had spectacular fishing for those kings right in the main body. We caught our biggest fish right off the face of the dam. It was wonderful. But by and large, the kings are tougher to catch for, you know, your average angler than, you know, the silvers were. But standard offerings, don't overthink it when you're fishing for kings. Hoochies and blades, tubes and blades, that's what we were using. The Brad's rotating lures work really well. Rigged bait works really well. Plug cut anchovies, rigged shad, stuff like that. Fish is great. You can also use spoons and stuff. Bottom line is, salmon feed on bait fish. Don't overthink it. Find a bait, you'll find a fish. Fish right underneath those balls of bait with shad and pond smelt imitating offerings. You're gonna hook up. King salmon also love dodgers. 6-inch dodgers work great. And probably the best, simplest thing you can use is a 6-inch sling blade followed by a 2 to 2.5-inch white or kind of white and blue hoochie, and take a small piece of anchovy fillet, pin it on one of the hooks. That's all you need to do. Get that below the marks and you're probably going to be yelling hook up. The king salmon bite is typically better early in the morning, but they bite all day long and into the evening. Usually they'll drop down in the water column as the sun gets higher. A little ripple on the surface always helps, but that first hour to 90 minutes of daylight is prime time to be on the water if you're targeting kings. For a long time, rainbows were very much absent from the waters of Oroville, and they're not common right now, don't get me wrong. But this year we are seeing a lot more big rainbows being caught by guys targeting salmon. Last time I was out there, we got one. We got one between 3 and 4 pounds, just a gorgeous fish. Last time the Fish Sniffer publisher Paul Nealand was out there, they got one real similar to the one I got. So they're starting to show up more and more. If you get one, try to release them. It would be great to see a robust rainbow population in Oroville too. It's got the forage base. That place is just full of little bitty pond smelt, and those things are like candy to everything that swims in our lakes. Channel cats, bass, trout, salmon, they all love those little smelts. So hopefully we'll see that rainbow trout population, you know, really get rolling forward there at Oroville. Facilities are great at Oroville. You know, probably the #1 activity on the lake other than fishing is houseboating. If you go to Oroville, you're going to see some big extensive rafts of houseboats in the marinas, and you'll see them out on the lake pulled up to shore, motoring around. People just love that lake for recreation. They love to get those houseboats out there, you know, kick back, have a little fun in the sun, do a little swimming, do a little fishing, and whatever else you do on a houseboat. Facilities are great at Oroville. You can camp. The launch ramps, top notch. They're awesome. It's got everything you want. It's close to Sacramento. It's close to the Sacramento Valley. It's a great destination. In years past, if we're having even a mediocre water year or heaven forbid, a low water year, Oroville can get drawn down horrendously. It can be down 150 or 200 feet. This year though, not a problem. I mean, we're into August, the lake is darn near full. It's probably going to stay that way. Hopefully we'll have another wet winter this year and it's not going to be a problem. But just know that in a mediocre water year, man, you could be dealing with some serious drawdowns at Oroville. But the lake is 300 feet deep, so there's always a lake there, and it probably, in reality, fishes better when the lake levels down. Concentrates the fish, you know, who would have thought? But anyway, it's full this year. The salmon are biting, the bass are biting, and there's a lot of bonus rainbows out there. I think you're going to have a really exciting fall season out there. We'll see how many rainbows are actually in the lake once the king salmon bite kind of backs off and people spread out a little bit, get up in the arms, and see if there's actually more trout than we think swimming around out there. But anyway, as I was saying, facilities are great. You're going to find groceries, gas, everything you need in Oroville. There's good services around the lake. It's just a great place to go. It's close, it's big, there's plenty of elbow room, and a lot of fun to be had out there, whether you're a bass guy, a cold water troller, or you want to sample a little bit of both. So anyway, that's about it for our destination this week. Lake Oroville, second biggest reservoir in the state, biggest earthen dam in the world. Anyways, this is Kel Kellogg. I'm signing off. I'll be coming at you with another Northern California fishing destination next week. Until then, I'm going to say goodbye. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. We really thank you guys for all the support you've been giving the channel. And we're having a lot of fun shooting video. So anyway, if you want to get your king salmon on, you don't want to go out in the ocean and get seasick. You don't want to go on the river and, you know, have bad things happen in the current, get out to Lake Oroville. They are biting big time. Put on some white hoochies and get ready to get your strings stretched. Anyway, have a great day, guys. This is Cal Kellogg.